Yo, what is up, Shayo? My beard and hair are scruffy. Wager here, coming at you with VCT pick'ems for all 4 regions across the world. Now, there's a caveat to this one. There's a difference in this one where I didn't actually get to do the pick'ems for the first few weeks of like Pacific, China, EMEA, America. So I went in and filled out what I thought things looked like based on my VFL roster. And we'll talk about those pick'ems as we move on to stage 2 as well. So week 1 for Pacific was super weak. I got a lot of these picks right. Some of the biggest ones for me in terms of biases were rooting for Talon and Nongshim because I did pick up some of their players for my fantasy league. Past that as well, really big on Gen G. They got upset by RRQ, I feel like, a little bit. We were thinking about the back-to-back. Wrong on Booms earlier on Rise, and wrong on some of the 50-50s between Global. Big upset for Global here as well against RRQ. But moving on to week 2 for Pacific, Gen G versus Global. I got Texture on my VFL. I got Karen. Past that as well, I feel like this team just looks strong, can only get stronger. Global had a pretty good showing in week 1 for at least how strong they can be, but at the same time, I feel like it's about to go back to business for Gen G. So we'll lock in Gen G on this one. Talon versus DFM. Again, DFM, some high highs, some records set overall across the region of not even just Pacific, but Valorant. I still think Talon are rocking through. I think they have a good chance in this one. Lots of footage to review as to how DFM looks at their peaks. T1 versus Zeta. I understand right now the doc is out. There's some, question marks around T1. But still, in my opinion, their biggest loss last week was to PRX. They looked pretty okay against Boom. I'm rocking T1. Nongshim versus RRQ. I honestly, this could be a flip up either way. I'm going to go for Nongshim, predicting a little bit of an upset in terms of power. In terms of what's going on, a lot of these matches in the week look one-sided. I feel like there has to be a situation where things flip the other way. Choba's also been very kind to me the entire week. We've been talking back and forth, and I want to toss him a bone and be kind back. Let's jump in with DRX versus Team Secret. I think we rock him through DRX, not a problem. And I think Paper X are going flawless 5-0 in this stage as well in this group. So that's Pacific down, Pacific locked. We're chilling. We're going to speed run this a little bit as well. I'm not going to be able to show you exactly how this looked like, but it's all good. I'll use this link and put it in the description too if you guys want to play along with my pick'ems. It'll be super fun. China coming in onto stage 2. We missed the first few weeks, but I feel like this has been the overall most accurate I've been at just predicting strength, power, and when upsets could happen inside the region. Of course, Mr. Tyloo, Titan got upset as well. And I've been wrong on a few of these jumps back and forth. I thought JDG would win against Billy Billy. I sometimes just predict against Billy Billy because I have a chatter who really loves YZ. I like triggering him sometimes and predicting against him, but sometimes I'm not right about it. That being said, FPX looked really good. I was wrong about Wolves coming in and being hot. But at the same time, after watching that happen, I was like, all right, let's go the sideshow way. Let's root for Gila a little bit. We're chilling. Big thing though for me in this region, I have a big DRG bias. If I see them playing, I'm going to predict them winning. And we have a few of those teams across all the regions. For Pacific, I think specifically, it might just be Talon this season, but I feel like it's Gen G. And it's not going to be that big of a hot take because Gen G are really good. But let's tap in with week number 3. So, seen lots of odds for China so far. Titan versus Billy Billy. Again, I see Billy Billy. I predict upset. Titan, I feel like, are having a big struggle in team identity and how they want to be playing Valorant this season. But I feel like this is the week we turn it around. FPX versus DRG. I think FPX is the best team in China, pound for pound right now. Number 1 out of if both the groups even played each other 7 times for consistency. But I got to pick my boys DRG because you never know. You genuinely never know. I hope we see Corrode. I hope we see some fun stuff here in China. We'll see what happens. Nova versus All Gamers. Now, I did a practice cast over All Gamers as well recently. We watched their week 1 game. I think missed the week 2 game overall, but they look good so far. I'm not sure how long that hawk streak continues. Nova's had some really good ideas as well. This is a toss-up. I have to make a decision here. Purple logo. Let's go with Nova. I feel like All Gamers, the biggest weakness we've seen from them is that strong on some maps, hard for them to close out the series. And that was the thing with DRG as well. Really good Lotus, I believe it was, from All Gamers. But past that, couldn't clasp things down for the rest of the maps. Tyloo versus Edward Gaming. I mean, EDG has been kind of in the dumps. Tyloo had a nice rise last week, beating Titan. Maybe EDG figure it out. Maybe this is the figure it out week for Titan and EDG. Let's see what happens. Titan, again, are rocking in. Now, if you're curious about why some teams are playing more than once inside China. You know, you had the 2 week super week in Pacific for every team. In China, each team has their own little super week where they end up playing twice. So might be seeing FPX play twice this week. It's one from each group, and Titan playing twice. Now, Titan versus JDG. I feel like JDG is one of the lowest seeded teams in general. Need to watch their games just a little bit more, but from what I saw, I believe in week 1, wasn't too happy with it. We'll rock Titan and say they have a big resurgence this week back to back. Now, honestly, seeing 2 Titan wins on the board, I might just flip this one over to Billy and give them the win against JDG. Let's see how that goes. If they win here, remember who believed first and switch their mind. Billy versus Trace. I'm giving this one a Trace a little bit because I feel like Billy are getting a little bit, or they're in the position to get vodded down easily. And Trace does have good reviews, or VOD reviews, not good reviews on Yelp or anything, but good VOD reviewing against teams when they actually have the footage. Sometimes it's hard for them to kind of get off the ground in weeks 1 and 2, and even with losses in previous stages and possibly on maps or games in week 3, 4, and 5, they still look really good to have nice ideas to counter strat in a few rounds. And I feel like if you end up counter stratting Billy, if you can contain YZ like we've seen many other teams do, we're rocking it. Wolves versus DRG. It's me against TMV this week. Let's be honest. Vukashu, look at the camera, take a sip of coffee, keep this shit rolling. G-Live versus FPX. I'm sorry. I mean, they struggled a little bit against Wolves here and there on a few rounds. FPX on a different level. I'm predicting an upset here anyways. I know my team. I know their skill level. I know how good they can be, though. They could be good enough to beat FPX. I think Z-Live could be too, but I don't have a Z-Live jersey, so, you know, it is what it is. Let's submit that over for China as well. Is it the same link over here to play? I mean, okay, I'll put a link in for every single pick'em bracket from China all the way to Americas. We'll keep it rocking. EMEA. Now, when it came to week 1 of this one, I think I just got one thing wrong, which was predicting the upset of BBL and Heretics. I think this week was pretty easy. It's past, like, let's say if you're predicting the Giants upset or picking between Foot and Gentlemates, but I thought this was a Foot meta. Still didn't really like what I saw completely compositionally from Foot. Like, yes, we're getting CNET in. How are things looking? We'll see. Let's jump to week number 2, though. Apex versus Common Core. I feel like a very even week for both teams to, again, have a chance at a win. I feel like a lot of people are counting out Apex in general and saying this might not be a week they can win it all. They're going to be the 0-5 team in general too, but I just feel like this team has potential. They can rise a little bit. KC, though, the firepower on this team, it might just be too much. And the biggest thing I'm seeing too is they're kind of honing in their compositions as well. They're not going crazy in terms of experimentation. And I feel like they really want to make Paris too. Just, you know, KC Arena being there and everything. We'll rock KC for a week 2 win at least. Maybe Apex have their upset coming, or their upset win coming in the later weeks. Giants versus BBL. I really like this Giants roster. I have doubted BBL in the past. I wanted to support BBL over here at the very end of my pick. I know it was very Heretics build as to they have better gunfighting skill than BBL. That's what I was saying in my chat room and whatnot. But genuinely, at the very beginning, I predicted a little bit of a BBL upset. Let's go for let's go against them, I guess, this time. I'm just liking the way Giants are playing. I want to see Giants go on a run. 2 BBL losses, though. They're up against Gentlemates, Vitality, and Foot after this. I still have to go for Giants. I feel like Giants are just on a really cool roll. Very hard to predict, very hard to counter strat, and I think might overwhelm Yampi in the way that he likes to approach the game slow and methodically. So we'll see how things go. Liquid versus Na'Vi. I mean, Liquid are my EMEA bias. If you've been tuning into Plat Chat since December, you might know this. I've got the most merch when it comes to jerseys for Team Liquid, so we're gonna lock Team Liquid on this one. Gentlemates and Heretics. Predictions here. Firepower is just too good for Heretics. Based off that week 1 in terms of confidence, I feel like it's back. The Mickey Mouse win also just kind of pushes them forward to kind of get rid of a lot of the cobwebs and the slowness in the brain based off all the second places, the losses, the pressure, it's gone, and they're soaring high, I feel like, all the way to champs. So we're looking good there for Heretics. Foot versus Vitality. This is going to be an interesting one. I feel like Unfake just needs to fix the calling and Vitality's fine. It's not like Durka's not shooting. It's not like the rest of the team is kind of falling behind overall. Maybe there's some questions about where Kicks is playing in, you know, in terms of role on a few maps, but it's just Unfake. Meanwhile, in Foot, it's a role issue. Sometimes it's a shooting issue as well. Zeus is playing, and the team, frankly, is playing like very outdated agents and comps in general. I think Vitality fixed their issues this week. I was predicting it to come through in week number 3, but I think it has to happen here now if we want to see Vitality maybe have some wins, have a chance against Heretics, have a chance against BBL. Let's lock that win in for Vitality. Koi versus Fnatic. I just wanted to check if I was recording. I am. Koi versus Fnatic. I liked a little bit of the aggression I saw from Koi. I like the roster changes, but Fnatic is genuinely one of the best teams in the world at the moment. Just got to lock it in based on their consistent performances across the board. I think the biggest down low / counter to my point is that Alpha might be having bad weeks, but dude, it will take Fnatic like 2 players, I guess, playing really bad, which I just don't see happening at the same time. If Kayak has an off week, Kron and Alpha carry so hard. If Alpha has an off week, like Kayak's up in the business, Kron's never playing bad. Boaster will end up leveling up too and looking so good. And dude, Crashies has been like elevating to the level of Kron and Alpha here, which is huge. So that's that. There's a link on screen. Again, the link will be down in the description if you do want to play along with me in Pick'ems. All right, we're back from the cutaway. I'll still link all my Pick'ems down below after they're done, by the way. It's going to be really fun in the description, but I realized I can also make a group. So I made a group. We teleported to Pacific. We're back to Americas. Let's talk about Americas a little bit. Let's talk about upsets. Let's talk about predictions from week 1. Cloud9 Furia. I mean, you see Furia, you pred the other team. Very simple. Leviathan Loud. Now, I am a man on the Loud train. Here's a fan art, by the way, as someone made that I'm popping on screen right now. Boom. Of Shio on the Loud submarine. Yes. Sliggy had a train. Shio gets a submarine with Loud. These guys will be lurking in the depths. Luke showed the nuke inside the submarine. The nuke show will be teleporting in and saving the round last minute on Icebox. We have the missile defense expert Pankata doing whatever he can. Cowan Zine's up in the business, looking in the telescope, letting people know where people are. We got the El Capitan, Robbie BK, and Verdi, the torpedo itself. You can't stop this team. Hashtag Pulse by Pulse. Hashtag they're winning the entire stage. I've been saying this on stream. It's been mentioned in Plat Chat a little bit, but listen, this team is winning America Stage 1. You heard it here first officially on my own videos. Been sprouting it on stream. If there's a Loud match, if you're watching this, you haven't seen my streams, launch up. Biggest Loud fan in the world right now. Not enough people know. 2G came out the boat looking strong. EG kind of shut him down with the consistent firepower across the board. I feel like if Spike wasn't sent in the right places in the right times, it was costing 2G. For every round they win, EG won like 2 consistent rounds, and as a result, 2G ends up losing. Crew MIBR 50-50, or MIBR on pace. I like to predict with recent results happening as well, which is why we also saw the Heretics opposite upset prediction. Hey, I was not familiar with EWC's game, I guess, when it came to giving Heretics a boost in their own perceptions and their skill and gunplay. Over here, though, I was correct. Crew rocks in. Crew ends up winning. NRG versus 100 Thieves. Wanted NRG to come and win through. Unfortunately, 100 Thieves had Kess. Didn't see Boostio leaving in my predictions. We kind of locked this in beforehand, and even with Kess's addition, I was like, it is what it is. Sideshow kind of convinced me on Plat Chat just from watching it, and in general with what he's been saying about NRG, that they're the next team that's a godsend, but it's time to not listen to Sideshow for week number 2. G2 and Sentinels. I see G2. I predict G2. I know I'm the Loud submariner, but I'm also like an OG G2 winner. I know Baby Bay was in the business as well, but even before then, even with Leaf Sick, I'm like G2 win the matchup. It was close. It was really close, but Sentinels kind of abused the fact that there was a sub. They didn't have as much diversity in week number 1. Let's jump to week number 2, though. Video's getting long. We can close it out very quickly. 2G versus G2 Mirror. Baby Bay Smeegs. Furia versus Sentinels. You see the Panther. You run away to the opposite side. Crew versus 100 Thieves. Now, Crew has this thing as well as Heretics, as like old Sentinels, as Foot, where they can look like they don't know how to play Valorant 1 week, and they're the best team in the world that should qualify for champs and win there in the other. In my opinion, I think Kess is on a hot streak. 100 Thieves kind of fixed their bind. This might be 100 Thieves good look here, and I'm a 100 Thieves hate watcher. I will watch this team and pray on their downfall type beat. Not the players, just the org. Don't know why. But honestly, they're looking to round out really well with Kess, and this team's looking stronger than before. They just have to fix a little bit as to what's happening on these maps. NRG versus Loud, brother. We are going in. Pulse by pulse sonar detecting where Mod is playing, either running away from him if he has an op or shutting him down. Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. What are we talking about over here? By the way, Verdi is insane. Robbie's in a top frag in this game. I'm talking about it now. I know they have Verdi, but wait for Robbie's big plays here. C9 versus EG. Let's give it to C9 because I don't want their Furia win to be Mickey Mouse. Let's give them like a boost of confidence from that Furia win. Not too much VODs released from them in terms of what to study. Potter can't dissect things like C9 or a frog on a science table in grade 10 for someone doing a project that's worth 50% of their grade. I'm going too far deep into the analogy. Let me fish myself out and go to MIBR versus Leviathan. I gotta combine their names. Leviathan looking, I think, as good as Loud in this stage. I love Sato. I love his addition to the team. I love Calm just being an absolute fucking raid boss on maps like Ascent and just utilizing exactly what you think he should be doing on Sova. I genuinely love the whole team. Oki, I don't know why I double split his name like that and talked like Obama, but Okeanos also is such a good addition to the team in terms of being that, I don't even know how to describe it, man, jack of all trades player in positions where you need him perfectly in timing, looking like a powerhouse, looking like the best support player, looking like the best player in role on the server at times. So enough glaze. Leviathan rise, the MIBR stocks fall in Americas. And those are my predictions, my friends. If you agree, if you don't disagree, let me know. Pick'ems are down below. Again, I'm flashing the group code on screen as well. So this is the group code if you want to play with me. You can copy paste it. It's in the description. And at the same time, this button down here, I'm not sure if it's here, wherever it is, subscribe. Helps me out the most. Dislike the video if you don't like it. If you don't like my predictions, that's okay. We can disagree. But if you just didn't like the video in general, dislike it. Like it though if it's cool. That'd be nice. But yeah, subscribe, like. More videos coming soon. My VFL process, I think, is going to be the next video I upload. Thanks so much for watching.